Good day, you beautiful brave hearts all around the world. So today's one-a-day is called Revolve or Evolve. So you have a choice. Would you like to evolve or just revolve? And what do I mean by that? Well, basically what I mean is it's a revolving door. Now, let me give you what I believe to be facts, and then I want you to do your own homework because that's really important. It's really important that you verify the things that you hear about out there. You know, I'm going to tell you something, and then you may take this as harsh, but the majority of the time when you listen to friends, neighbors, and family, okay, you are going to go down the beaten path. That's why they call it the beaten path. I'm not going to take the beaten path. I'm going to take the high road, okay? And the high road, people usually don't do. And you can believe that this world is on the right path, and then you are really going to be in for a wake up. Now, I don't know why that we exist right now in this time, but I'm sure that that which we call universal creator would not have put you here if you cannot handle this. You have the ability to handle everything that's going on if you minded your own business. If you minded your own business, you would understand that history repeats itself, whether you're talking about each day, because guess what? Whether you want to believe it or not, you have the same 70 to 90,000 thoughts every day. And guess what? 70% of those are toxic. So listen, your spirit is everything. This meat suit is secondary, and the health of your meat suit will depend on how you feed your spirit. But why are you so scared to learn the rules of this game down here? There is approximately 5 families that for hundreds of thousands of years have actually organized, strategized, and run this planet. Whether you believe it or not, they believe the old incest is best. They believe that they are the pure bloods, okay, of the planet, and they are to rule. Now, understand this. Don't believe me, but United States is now in its 248th year of being the empire of the world. And guess what? No empire lasts for approximately more than 250 years. Does anybody see the writing on the table? How many people know that if you did your research, you would find out that every 80 to 120 years, the currency that is used leaves. The United States currency is leaving, and we can fight, we can struggle to try to hold on to this currency because, you know, we were the most powerful nation. And realizing this, that we weren't the most powerful nation, we were picked by the 5 families to have what we call the Federal Reserve and to actually print money faster than you printed toilet paper. And the reality is this, is that the United States was never accountable for anything. They could print as much as they wanted because they were supposed to be the military might to go out and get all the banks for the central bank, which is owned by these 5 families. Yeah, you didn't know that, did you? You didn't know that 99% of all wars, and I did say 99% of all wars, that means 99 out of 100 were created for these families and will always be created for these families. You don't understand that everything's just a revolving door because guess what? We don't look at his story. And the reality is I looked at his story and it really pissed me off. It made me angry. I knew that I was on a slave planet. And then finally, after a few years, I realized that, you know, most thing that's important is my spirit because it's indestructible, it's infinite. And when I feed my spirit, my body heals so fast because it's all about vibration. You know, a healer can give you the vibration, the frequency, but unless you are going to magnetize to it and match it long enough and strong enough, you're never going to be healed. You can use willpower, you can use their magnetism, their vibrational frequency, but as soon as you leave that environment, you're screwed. You know what? People will come to the course, and this is why we teach when they leave the Whole Life Health Certified course, is we teach them strategies when they go home because, you know, they'll be told that they just joined a cult because they want to love and care for themselves, and they want to perfect that so their families actually can see that this actually works, and that's what they want to do. We need Braveheart heroes that will be bullied, bantered, disrespected by their families, friends, and the majority of the population to actually help the population. Whether you believe that or not, that is the God-given truth. So understand this. So know this, 3 generations ago, we went to war, didn't we? Okay. And we did a draft, didn't we? Okay. And guess what? Now they're talking about bringing the draft back because every 3 generations, they believe that people are really stupid and they aren't strategizing like these 5 families are strategizing. So what they do is they rule school and fool us continually. You know, the most important thing that you could ever do if you want to stop this revolving door of pain, suffering, dis-ease, which there are no diseases, there's just you out of alignment. There's just you not honoring, loving, and respecting yourself. You will continue going on this revolving door. Isn't it great to go on this? Isn't it nice that you have the same fights with your children, your husband, your family? You have the same fights inside your head. You're at war with yourself. Isn't that great? Isn't that wonderful? I already told you 70 to 90,000 of your thoughts every day are the same damn thoughts. And that's why your life is damned. That's why the only hell is in the mind. Heaven is also in the mind, but you would have to create belief systems that actually create that. Understand something. Every day I wake up, I tell myself, okay, you are a spirit being. You deserve a beautiful time on this planet. Daryl, how are you going today bless yourself with more beauty and more love, more alignment? Okay, I'm not looking for peace, because if I was at peace, I mean, if I'm looking for peace, that means I'm at war with myself. I'm looking for alignment all the time. So you know what? I deserve it. I deserve all the beauty that this world has to offer. And I know that nobody's coming to save me. Nobody's coming to give it to me. I'm going to go out and I'm going to create it. Did you notice I didn't say take it? Because you guys can believe whatever you want. But understand something. They want to bring out this universal payment plan where, you know, let me tell you, I guarantee you that about 40 to 60% of the population will buy into it, and they'll take their $3,000 a month from the government. And then the government will be telling them what to do, rule and school them, because it's governmental, and you're mental if you have anything to do with the government. I'm not against the government. The government is a system, okay? Just another system. And I am going to create my own belief systems. And my own belief systems are based on unconditional love and care, and looking how I can create the most beautiful experience. See, the thing that I realize is this. I'm never coming back here in this form again. I don't know if I'm coming back again. There's stories that we will come back until we are enlightened enough to blow off this planet. You know, I kind of believe that one. I don't believe the other ones. Most of them that are out there that the majority believe in, they're just fairy tales and stories for me. And please, I'm not trying to disrespect your story. But the reality is I'm creating a new story every day, one that sets me free, one that doesn't make me guilty, one that doesn't make me responsible, okay, to end the suffering and the pain on this planet on an individual level for myself or for my family or for anyone else. You have to understand something. And I know you don't want to hear this, but there will always be wars here. So if you're the type of person where your father was into politics and his father was into politics, and now you're into politics, just know that politics means many parasites. Okay, poly means many, ticks. They always give you a clue. See, the rule is with these 5 families that have many other parasites under them, because guess what? As you noticed, it's not a difficult job to give somebody enough money to say, I'm just doing my job, to go out and hurt another human being on an emotional and physical level, poisoning them even, killing them even. Yes or no? Help me out, please, please. Am I living in some kind of a bubble, or is this reality? So the reality of all of this is that I'm going to mind my own business. And if it doesn't meet my vibrational standards of unconditional love and beauty, I'm not going to do it. So, you know, if you want to evolve, you know, those 70 to 90,000 same thoughts that you have every day because you're running programs in your subconscious, which is just a computer. I mean, people don't realize it, but the real brain of the body is the good bacteria in the large intestine, which is 500 trillion. And then your cells, the outer layer of your cells those 50 trillion cells are actually the brain for the body. And then the brain for the cells is not the nucleus. Those are the gonads. But you're taught in school when I was being taught medical health, okay, that the nucleus was, but you can actually remove the nucleus from the cell and it'll keep living, because it isn't. It's the mitochondria. And the reality is this, is most people are destroying the brain, okay, of the cells, because they don't understand that inflammation causes calcification, not just in muscles and joints and tissues, but also in your cells, okay? So you create hell in your cells, which means you bring inflammation into the cell, inflame, okay? That means you're gonna drop the pH in the cell to make it more acidic. That means you're gonna lose the oxygen in the cells, okay? And when you lose oxygen in your cells up to 35%, okay, up to 35%, when you lose oxygen, a cell cannot live properly and be normal, losing 35% in the oxygen for more than 3 days. And that was a study done by Dr. Otto Warburg, and he's the only person in the world that ever received the Nobel Prize for actually discovering, oh my gosh, the cause of cancer, and everything else is BS. And that's it. And what I mean by BS is, I mean that is a dysfunctional program. Go also into pdgfree.com and tell me that I'm not trying to evolve. How do you evolve? Well, you find your passion, purpose. You found your passion, purpose. Disease, no such thing. There are no diseases. Okay, there are no diseases. They're all made up. Now, if somebody comes to me and they give a disease name, it's working. Thank you. It's working. If somebody comes to me and they give me a disease name, whether it's arthritis or cancer, it's not true. Every one of these are from the same thing. Okay. All right. All right. Disinformation in the food, meaning poisoning. Disinformation within your subconscious, which means poisoning, because it's all about warfare, okay? Psychological warfare. It's always been about psychological warfare. That's the main warfare. If you didn't have psychological warfare, you wouldn't have anybody going to war. You think about that. What if they held a war and nobody came? What if people stopped going to supermarkets and they started growing their own food? Like check out foodforestabundance.com. What if they just went to their local farmer? What if they did all of this stuff? What if we stopped going to all of these corporations, okay? Because the short form for corporations is corpse. Yeah, you get it, don't you? You get it? And understand something. All of the videos that you see, and Disney's the most disgusting, corrupt thing, even though everybody thinks it's beautiful. It's only used as a tool to show you what they're going to do to us, because these 5 families and all their minions that work under them, they have to show us what they're going to do to us. And then if we choose, okay, not to create our own life, if we choose not to mind our own business, and if we choose to go their way and allow them to poison us and harvest us, then guess what? Their religion, okay, which I will never have a religion, thank you very much, but their religion, okay, lets them off the hook, because they are the gods of this planet, and whatever they seem or deem fit, okay, so we know who we're talking about. We're talking about just brilliant people like Bill Gates and Fauci and George Soros, and that's enough names. You know who they are. But the reality is you get all frustrated when you really do awaken or you become awoke, and you get frustrated because the majority of the population isn't seeing your views. And that will never, ever, ever, ever upset me, because the majority of the population will never awoken. And understand something. You're going to go, well, you're very negative, Daryl, Dr. Wolf, whatever. And I'll say, no, I want to be wrong. But guess what? It has never happened in history. When you play Monopoly, you're playing Monopoly. When you're playing the Earth, life-threatening, fun-filled adventure game, you're playing that, and you don't know the rules. And the rules are to first love, honor, and respect thyself unconditionally, without judging, without guilt, and never listening or buying into some story that holds you guilty, okay, or brings your vibration down. That's how they win. But you believe just because generation after generation after generation has bought into a story filled with inflammation, you take it as true. The subconscious was actually manipulated, okay, whether you want to believe that or not. It was manipulated to actually, from 0 to 7, get you programmed to make you into a robot. Now, they don't want us anymore. They want at least 60% of the workforce to become robotic, because we get sick. We want to be paid. A robot isn't going to get sick. It might break down. And the only time that they actually have to pay that robot is actually to fix a part or put in a new chip. And the reality is, what people don't get is it's a revolving door. And just like we went into the industrial age, and then we went into the computer age, now we're going into the robotic age. And if you don't wrap your head around this and say, what can I do? What's my passion and purpose? And what can I do that a robot can't do? You might want to think about that, okay? You might want to think about that. 20 million people will lose their job this year because of robotics, okay? So now they're going to have to find a new job. And guess what? When it's all said and done, you shouldn't have went and looked for a job. You should have stayed with your passion and purpose. But your family said, we suffered and you need to suffer too. When you make money, you have to suffer. Well, I don't suffer making my money because it's my love, it's my passion, it's my purpose. And because of that, money is never going to be the motive I do something. I just created a studio here that I'm opening up to health practitioners all around the world that can't afford a studio. They can't afford to shoot their commercials, can't afford to do their master classes, can't afford things. I created BraveheartNationApp.com because that's an app that's going to be on everybody's phone in just a couple of months. And if you want to go into a test drive, go there and test drive it. I created that so that I am only one small piece of the puzzle. I am such a tiny piece of the puzzle. I will help you create a perfect day on emotional, physical, nutritional level. I will show you the secrets of not having any scar tissue all the way to a tumor. I will show you how to never have a pimple to a cyst or a boil. I'll show you how to never have a hip replacement, spinal surgery, or any surgeries. I'm serious, unless you're in a terrible car accident or sports injury. But even a lot of those where people have to get surgeries and plates and screws. And you know what? And every time they go to the hospital now and somebody has a break, guess what, Dr. Wolf? They want to put in 1 plate and 2 screws. I have heard 1 plate and 2 screws for the last month. And understand something, whether you believe this or not, the closer they can get us to robotics, right? Neuralink in the head, okay? All right? Plates, screws, okay, rods, mesh for people with inguinal hernia that can be reversed, okay, all right? Everything that they can put into us, these foreign objects, okay, all right? And when you put a foreign object into your body, whether it's a screw, whether it's a plate or anything else, just know that it's going to create inflammation, which will be a scar tissue issue, and it'll be calcification. And guess what? Listen, you had to have it quick, didn't you? You had to have it quick, okay? You know, you have to have instant oatmeal, okay? You got to have the drive-through, because guess what? And you know why you got to do the instant oatmeal? Do you know why you have to do the drive-through? And you're going to eat their crap that is poisonous? I mean, McDonald's is there to poison the planet. I'm going to do a show on Coca-Cola, and it's going to blow your mind. And the last time I did this, okay, views on this, and guess what? Whether you believe it or not, at least 30 to 40% of the people were so pissed off. And why were they pissed off? Not because it was true, but because they're Coke addicts. That's right. Live something. Then that means your addictions. I'm addicted to a beautiful life. So it will protect that. But what other people are addicted to is not so good. It's killing them and their family. And you need to remember that. It's killing them and their family. All right? So I want you to think about this today. Get yourself a love band or a hair band and go look in my Braveheart 12 Loving Steps and how to snap yourself back into the present moment and own it. And you know what? You think that suffering for your family is buying you a place in heaven, or whoever suffers the most loves the most? This has got to be the craziest notion I've ever heard in my life. I am not going to suffer for my family. That doesn't mean I don't. I am not going to suffer, and I'm going to stand guard, because people, when they're suffering, they're not in the present moment, and they're not helping the vibration or the frequency, and they're definitely not coming up with a strategy for the family to help to heal themselves. So you keep on doing your revolving door of going to war with yourself in your head, with the person that's in your bed, with your neighbors. Oh, listen, why don't we even just join the draft and go fly to another country and go murder some people? Let me tell you something right now. The day that we don't spill blood on this planet will be the day that, damn it, we own it. But I told you there's 5 families, and they've been around for hundreds of thousands of years. And you go ahead and believe all the stuff. If you were to just go and look into their real history books and take a look at the architecture that we cannot, oh, I can't figure out how they built the pyramids. Oh, wow, look at that beautiful city hall in Europe. Look at that beautiful church. We can't even build this stuff today. Listen to me. We didn't crawl out of a cave. It never happened. Everything's a lie. I used to love history when I was in high school, and I'm going to tell you something. History is his story. And do you guys, what do you think? Are you not going to get here in the present moment? They have to say it's history. You never pulled it apart. Why don't you pull every word apart that you know? Government, governmental, governmental, history, his story. Why aren't you making it your story? Understand something right now. Think about it. You're born on this planet, and now we're giving 50% of everything we make away for being born on this planet. So don't tell me that this isn't a slave planet. Don't even dare tell me. Don't tell me that this isn't a slave planet when we have our friends and our family buying into chemo, radiation, chopping parts of their body out, and up until that point, taking drugs to shut down their emotions. And if you shut down an emotion without processing it, guess what? You suppress it. You suppress it in your tissues, in your joints. And guess what? Now it's dis-ease, out of ease. And now you need a storage area, which is scar tissue, calcification, okay, fibroids, tumors, cysts, pimples. How am I doing? How am I doing? Lesions in the brain are caused from inflammation. And most of that inflammation from those lesions in the brain was caused from anxiety. And the anxiety was caused from fear. And the fear is false evidence appearing real. And that came from the media, came from your family, your friends, your neighbors, and from the governmental. How am I doing? And hospital. Well, guess what? Hospice, hospital. Do you understand? Okay. All right. And understand, everybody knows this, that you don't want to stay in the hospital too long because they have the worst infections in that building than anywhere around the world. But guess what? Soon as there's anything wrong with the majority of the population, they do. Seems to be stopping here. Hold on. As soon as there's anything going wrong with the majority of the population, what do? They go into react and attack. They go into fight, fright, and flight. and they run to emergency. Well, where else would you run? They run into an emergency room, okay? All right? And when they run into emergency room, what happens? Well, everybody else is in there. Everybody that goes into an emergency room is there because they're in emergency. I hope you understand that. Everybody that's in an emergency room runs there because they're in emergency. And so now you're sitting in the middle of Wilson. We need to figure this out. I should be able to walk, right? Am I still frozen?
Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you, Rafa. So, then I need to figure it out.
Let's say goodbye.
All right, everyone, goodbye. We'll have to figure this out. But guess what? You need to figure it out. Okay, evolve or revolve. Thank you. And we need to figure this